Yves Cordelle, Omaha Beach, World War II. Folks, this is a rare interview. This is from a French historian whom I met over 20 years ago in Normandy, France, my first trip to Omaha Beach. And Yves lived right on the beach, told a great story of the history of Omaha Beach and what he experienced as a young boy during the Normandy invasion. And it's just a rare opportunity to really look into history from a French perspective of what happened on Omaha Beach and the Americans landing there June 6, 1944. This interview was done June 7th, 2003, the day after the 59th anniversary of D-Day. And I was so blessed to find Yves on the beach there, and he took me into his home and showed us around and some of the maps of the beach back during World War II, and just a great time. And I met some of his friends that lived there at Cordelle, right on the beach there. So it was a great opportunity to really relive the Normandy landings through the eyes and ears of Yves. So I want to thank Steve and Abby Rizzo for supporting my work and making it possible for you to hear Yves' story today. Steve and Abby, thank you. God bless you. I know you're out of town for Thanksgiving, but it's just so great working with you, and I look forward to continue working with you into the new year. And I'm just grateful that we can share this history with our audience today. Folks, I've said it many times, if you'd like to sponsor a story, there's information in the video description and on my website, larrycapeto.com. If you'd like to donate to my work, there's information in the comments section of my videos, and I would encourage you to do so. I know some of you have expressed an interest recently in doing it, and I hope you can do it. So it'd be great to help me keep this work going. Okay, folks, this is history right here on the Voices of History YouTube channel, and will be on my radio station, Voices of History Radio, KVOH, Grand Junction, Colorado. Happy to share Yves' story. It's been sitting in my archives for almost 21 years. He's featured, a part of his stories in my first film on Omaha Beach, but his entire interview has been sitting in my archives, and it's ready now to be broadcast live into your homes. So God bless you. Thank you for subscribing to this channel, sharing these videos, and I'll talk to you soon. If you could just tell me a little bit about where we're at right now, so people will know. Just tell me that we're on Omaha Beach. This is the Dog Green sector, and just tell me a little bit about what was here back in 1944. You talked a little bit to me about it, but just tell me a little history about Omaha Beach and some of the things you said about. Just what the land. I want to know what was here in 1944, the bluff, the beach, anything like that. Just you can tell me about that.
Before the war, the beach was quite like now. There was villas. There was. Not many more villas. The same number of villas. They were built between 1900 and 1940. But in the 43 and 44 years, the Germans have destroyed many of these villas, and they were also. Destroying on the 6th June, they were destroying they were always destroying some of the villas. So for this time, for example, the Villa Hardere, not far from here, was only with his walls. But if the landings would be in July or August, the villa would have been built down. Here there was no villas in this part of in this land here. There was no villas, but at 50 meters from here there was always villas. But all from here to the draw, they were all completely destroyed. The villas that remained were from here to Saint Laurent. There was a dozen of villas in course in a way of to be demolished. And so when the landings have begun, the American troops, which has landed at my left hand, the Americans could hide in the ruins of the villas here. But here there was no ruins, there was not any hiding places.
Tell me about the bluffs. Tell me about where the Germans were when the Americans landed.
The Germans were essentially in the draws, in Vierville, in Saint Laurent, and a little strong point up there at 200 meters from here up there. But a very little strong point, not with perhaps 20 or 30 Germans only, without big guns.
Where were the Germans? More Germans shooting down at the beaches? Were they?
Well, in Vierville, there were perhaps 150 Germans in the draws of Vierville, with 88 millimeter guns and two 75 millimeter guns. But these guns have been destroyed by the American tanks. The Americans have landed at 6:30 with the infantry. They have landed 30 tanks, and these 30 tanks, some have been destroyed by the guns here, but some had not been destroyed. So they had fired in the bunkers there, and you can see in the bunker Vierville, there is shots inside the bunker. So perhaps half an hour after the landing, the bunker was out of order. But the Germans, with their machine gun, were always firing. But you have to think there was in the fields at 3 or 4 kilometers from here, there were 20 or 30 German field artillery guns. These 20 or 30 guns could fire on the beach. They were in liaison, telephonic liaison with observators on the cliffs, and they could fire on the beach. And these guns were unknown from American. They were very well hidden, and they fired till they have no more ammunition. And I think these guns have made many casualties on the beach in the morning of the 6th June.
Yves, just tell. You were talking about the Germans and the machine gun. Now tell me what happened on Dog Green during the landings. Tell me about the landings. Let me see. And what happened. And you know the Americans. You talked about the American bodies, the tides flowing. Can you tell me a little bit about the landings and what happened to the American troops that came in the first waves?
Well, at 6:30, just after the tanks had landed on the beach, there arrived the landing LCVPs with two companies of the 116th Regiment of the National Guard. And these two companies, the A Company and the B Company, landed just in front of the Wehrwil Drow. And it was a very bad place because the Wehrwil Drow was well equipped with a machine gun, German machine gun, and the landing craft had the landing craft landed on the beach, and the beach was as large as 300 meters, and the men had to walk first in the 50 meters of water and then 300 meters of sand and under the fire of the machine gun. So very few of them made the trip till the sea wall. The sea wall could give them protection, but it was very difficult to attain the sea wall without casualty. So the 200 men who landed there were in the quarter of an hour after the landing, there were casualties, dead or wounded.
The German
And
machine.
in the hours after, the sea has flooded all the sand, and the bodies of the men arrived on the sea walls.
Now you said that the tide was pushing the bodies over.
Well, the current was pushing west, east on the east. Always when the sea is I don't understand.
Yes, I understand. Tell me.
When the sea when there is a flux of the sea, the current is always pushing east.
Tell me where your house is now. Tell me what was here in 1944. What was here?
There was no villas, no, but here the villa was built, these villas, and you see also the big villa 200 meters from here. It was a ruined with only the walls.
Okay, and is this a bluff? Do they call this like a bluff, this hill?
Yes, it was a bluff with on the grass, and some GIs had climbed here and climbed on the cliff, and then went to Vierville at 8 o'clock in the morning. The GIs from here were in Vierville, because here there was there was no machine guns German here, only and under the Vierville Dow.
So the dog green sector of the beach is where many Americans were killed coming off their
Yes.
boats.
I think perhaps 300 or 400 Americans were killed in the dog green sector of the.
Why do you think so many Americans were killed on Omaha Beach and not Utah Beach?
How many?
No, why were there so many more casualties here than Utah Beach?
Oh, because Utah Beach is a flat, land. There was no hill in Utah Beach. That is the first reason. And the second reason is the aerial bombing was a good bombing in Utah Beach, but here very bad bombing, because here the bombing was made by flying fortresses and liberators who were flying over the clouds, so they cannot find exactly where to bomb, and the bombs were in the fields away from there. In Utah Beach, the bombing was made by medium bombers who were flying under the clouds. They can see exactly where to bomb. So the aerial bombing was much more good there than there.
Tell me about the weather. What you remember about the weather on the landing? The weather was very bad, rough.
There was no sun. There was clouds at medium highs. The wind was northwest, not too strong, 3 to 4. The sea was with waves 3 feet high, 3 to 4, 5 feet high, with a small surf on the beach, smart surf 2 or 3 feet high. Not a very rough time.
Well, many of the American soldiers were seasick.
Yes, because the landing ships are with a flat hull, and this landing craft are moving brutally, and when you are not used to, you have seasick.
What do you think about? I mean, a lot of people come here and they think and they remember. I mean, you live here. What do you think about? Do you think about what happened 59 years ago? I mean, today it's very peaceful, very nice, but a lot of people come here to remember, and you live here.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? What do you think about all that? I mean, people.
Oh, I always try to imagine, but it is impossible to imagine. The movies who have tried to show the landings, or like the D-Day or Soldier Ryan, these movies cannot show the reality of war. It is impossible. In the war, there is a smoke, there is the sound, there is you are always and there is no neighbors. No, you are alone. You don't know what is passing 30 meters from you. You see on the movies men running, but it was impossible to run. You have 30 or 40 kilos on the back. You can't run. You have to walk with a huge charge on the back. It is impossible to run. You have no time to turn your head back and see what is what is passing behind you. Only you see what is before you.
So you see the movie Saving Private Ryan? You see
Yes, yes.
And at the beginning of that movie, when they show the beach landing, that to you wasn't a real.
Unreal, because the battlefield is huge. The soldiers are not crowded. They are. They are. You see only 2 or 3 soldiers.
Tell me again. Now we're sitting here. Where we're sitting. Point in the direction. Where were the German? Were there German 88 guns or machine gun fires that way or that way? Or
The 500 from here, there was the 88 millimeter gun, and at the same place there were several machine guns, and there was also machine guns up there on the hills, but perhaps it was not well manned, because when the GIs climbed the cliff here, they found, first time they found nothing, and then some Germans get out of their shelter, but the Americans were there and they shot them. Some Germans were not eager to fight because they were what they said, German folks. They were from Poland, or German for Poland, German from Russia, and these soldiers don't want to fight. So sometimes they surrendered. When the GIs arrived near them, they surrendered.
What else do you remember about the landings? I mean, anything else about the beach, the different sectors of the beach, or anything you want to tell me about the landings? Maybe I haven't asked you, or about where we are at, or anything history things you can tell me. Anything you want to say more? You said the tide was low that morning. Tell me about the tide. It was low.
The tide was low at 6:30, but at 10:30 the tide was high. So all the vehicles many vehicles were drowned on the beach. Only 15 tanks have climbed on the road, and they were waiting there on the road before the anti-tank wall in the Vierville Draw had been blown up by the Corps of Engineers. But this blowing up will take place at about 16 in the afternoon.
Tell me about how many Americans died on the landing at Omaha, and are they all buried at the cemetery?
On Omaha Beach, on the 6th June, about 3,800 Americans were casualties. That's to say, killed in action, wounded in action, and missing in action. 3,800. So I think about 1,000 Americans were killed on the beach on this day. In the Colville Cemetery in 1950, there was 20,000 American bodies buried there because they had come from the 2 months of battle in Normandy, and the battle in the fields in Normandy in the weeks had been very murderous. Every day there was many Americans killed in the hedges by the struggle against the Germans.
I talked to a lot of veterans that landed here, all the way, all the sectors. You know, the Rangers were down there, and then the Americans. But a lot of them talked about, you know, the thing they saw a lot when they first came in were the bodies floating in the water. A lot of Americans drowned because maybe the packs on their backs. And even some of the Americans said that the water was turning red from all the blood, and there were dead fish along the beach. I mean, that was quite a sight, you know.
Right. The GIs who landed here was from two origins. There was the infantrymen from the National Guard, and there were also rangers. But the rangers, some had landed also in Vierville, but the biggest part of the rangers had landed at 600 meters from here, in a place, very better place, and this. And when the GIs climbed the cliff, there was 500 rangers and 200 National Guard men. And these 700 men took Vierville in the morning of the 6th June.
What do you think about? I mean, do you every June 6th June every year? Do you look out there and think about what happened? Do you remember still, or what do you think? Like yesterday was D-Day. What do you still think about it? Do you say a prayer? Do you think about it? Or?
No. Perhaps every day when I live here, every day sometimes I think of what happened 59 years ago, not especially on the 6th June. Perhaps because I have always been interested by these events, and since 50 years I collect everything I can find about these landings. I have personally found in 1945, when I was a boy, have personally found many relics, like a bazooka, a helmet, lifesavers on ammunition or everything.
Why is it so interesting to you? Why are you so interested?
Oh, I don't know, because every man is a collectioner in and I have made a collection, a big collection of photographs, and I have collect also videos of the 6th June. I have mounted video clips, 1 hour of video clips from the 6th June in Omaha Beach, 6th June and the weeks after.
You have that?
I have that.
Yeah? Oh boy. That's very, very interesting.
I can show you now
Maybe we can see a little bit.
on the computer.
Oh, you have it on the computer?
It is on the computer.
Tell me about how old you were when the landings happened, and then tell me again about when the Germans told you to leave, and then you said you'd come back in October. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, before the war and during the war till 1944, I was a boy. We used to spend our holidays in Vierville, in the house of my grandparents. The holidays, that is to say, 15 days for Christmas holidays, 15 days for Easter holidays, and 2 months and a half in the summer holidays. But in 1943, we lived in Paris, and we always spent our holidays in Vierville. In 1943, we did came in Vierville, but we cannot take our bath on the beach because Germans had forbidden the access of the beach. But and then at the end of February in 1944, the Germans said, "We need your house to lodge the workers who we sent to build the Atlantic Wall." They reinforced the commandos to build and so we had to leave our house. And we had 3 days to move all the furnitures, and then we could not go to Vierville because we had no place to lodge. Then the landings take place in June, and I were living in Paris, and in the summer of 1944, I could not came here. On the 25th of August, Paris was liberated, and then in October, we could find enough gas to go with to drive with our car till Vierville. The car during the war was hidden in a cave, and after the liberation, the car was removed. Was get in motion in the new. And we drive in October 1944 here. But then our house was occupied by an American hospital. So we lodged in a little farm not far from.
One more question. Tell me.
I remember we were invited in our dining room by the hospital. And I remember the Americans who mixed every piece of meal of food in the same plate, and spill on it condensed milk. That was for us French. It was astonishing.
Tell me why did the Americans have to land in France? Why did the Americans land, and then what does that mean to you as a Frenchman? Tell me why they landed and what it means to you.
For us, it was the end of the war. It was the liberation. It was the thing of that the war will be over in the. I don't know. We don't know exactly, but it was the thing that is perhaps the end.
So what does that mean to you as far as Americans? We hear in America that some French people don't like Americans. I mean, I don't think that's true around here, Normandy.
No, in Normandy, American are not. We remember the liberation by the Americans. Perhaps we have not always the same opinions of international affairs, but for us it is. We have always friends in America.